Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I made my cardboard Commander Cody helmet. So if you're interested in building this for yourselves, in probably a few days or weeks there will be templates in the link below, so go buy them and build along with me. Okay guys, so all the templates you see right here are all the main ones I need to make the front section of the helmet. So I'm going to plug in my glue gun and then we can get right to work. Okay guys, so I'm starting with the two main base plates or face plates, then gluing them on to the dome support, and then I'm going to start working on the back wall and the cheek wall. So those are just pieces of cardboard that I glue into place and they fit in, and that's what I attached the cheek into. Then you see I'm doing the same thing on the other side, building the wall and then working on the front mouth guard. Okay guys, so right now I'm working on the front tubes. So what I'm doing is gluing together all those darts. If you don't know what a dart is, it is just a V cut into the cardboard that when you hold them together, it makes a compound curve or something like that you can't get out of regular cardboard. Then I'm going to be gluing that on to the main face plate behind that little cheek or teeth grill. Then this is the same thing I did on the other side, just copying it over. I sped this up just because it's the exact same thing that I already did. Okay guys, so a good amount of the base helmet, at least the front, is almost done. So I left off here because I realized I didn't film when I was making this. So I don't know where I put the template. Oh, here's the template. So it's just this piece. I flipped it over, then I just glued all the darts together and it made this bowl shape. So I'm happy with it. So the reason this masking tape's on is it was on a weird angle and it was hard to glue, so I used that and glued on the inside. So I'm gonna take it off and then we can start filling these pieces right there and then start on the cheeks. So let's go. Okay guys, so right now I'm gluing in that main cheek panel, and then what I'm going to be doing is starting on the tubes. So with those I have the tube supports, so I put them on, and the reason for these again are for support when I'm spackling and sanding. If they get pushed down, I don't want them to collapse in and cave in on themselves. So these are just there to give it a little bit more strength to the tubes. Okay guys, so this is what it's looking like. So these pieces up here, I kind of just eyeballed and they look pretty good. Flushes everything out when everything's spackled and everything. But this is what we got done. So we added this back plate and added all these supports. And the reason for the supports for the tubes is when you're sanding them, you're going to be putting pressure on them. So you don't want them to like cave in on themselves. So these supports give them a little bit of support. So now what I'm going to do is copy what I did here onto the other side. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so now both of the cheek plates and the supports are in. So now we have these pieces here, just that. Going to go in there, and then this piece is going in there. So what I'm going to do is go right into a time lapse of gluing these cheeks on. Okay guys, so right now I'm using the templates to build the tubes. Make sure with the hot glue, you make sure it cools down completely so it won't peel up or anything. That happened to me a few times. So just make sure your glue cools down before you move on to the next step. So that is the main one for the cheek, and then I have the one for the ear that just has that little shape cut into it that makes everything as seamless as possible. Then I'm trimming off all the extra pieces that I don't need. So trimming off some of the cheek tubes that like overlapped, or some of the tubes that overlapped. I finished the tubes and then I just went in and filled the back with the two pieces of cardboard. So now what we have to do is continue the tubes onto the back. So here are all the templates for the back. So this one right here is the main plate that will go right there. Then these make it a little taller, and these are details on that. And this is the piece that fills in there, and we're gonna add some details onto this. here are the supports for the tubes, and then this is the piece for the tubes. Has some darts in it. But now let's get into a time lapse of gluing all these together. Let's go. Okay, guys. So I have that main backplate. Adding the detail, then adding the walls, and then adding those other details that are like those big wide triangles or angled cuts, whatever you want to call them. But I'm adding on the walls and then gluing it on right in the middle of the back plate. When that is done, you want to add all of your cheek supports, and then you're going to start working on the actual cheeks. So before with the darts, same on this, one on the top, one on the bottom. Glue them together, gives it a more compound curve. What you might have to do, you might have to trim it a little here and there, because every helmet will vary, but the templates will give you a good starting point for all of the components for the helmet. Okay, guys, so the bottom of the helmet is mainly done. So there are some gaps here and there. But I'm getting a tool tomorrow to fill those in. So right now what I'm going to do, as you see on the top, I've traced out the pieces for the inset of the dome, because I'm going to be building this first and then build the dome on top of this. But after this, I'm going to build Commander Cody's classic visor. So I'm going to do that, and that's where we're going to end the night. Let's go. Okay, guys, so what I'm doing right now is I'm gluing in the trench for the dome. So once that is done, I am going to start working on the visor. So the visor is 3 main parts: the piece spanning apart, the arms, and then the piece that actually comes down. So a total of 5 pieces, 2 of the arms and the pieces that come down first per each side. So you just glue everything together. So basically, a good amount of the helmet's done. So all we have to do now is the dome and all the little details. But the next main part is the dome. So let's get this off, because I'm not gluing this on, just because it's easier to paint it and resin this way. So in come these 2 pieces. These make the dome support. So what happens, these get glued together and they are placed on top, and they make the main shape that I can build on. So I am going to get that glued and show you how to make the dome. Guys, so right now for the dome, I'm using RJR Productions technique. So if you want a more in-depth tutorial, make sure you go watch his videos. But what I am doing is adding the main dome band and then using flat pieces of cardboard for the sides. And then with the same piece I used for the main strip, I'm going to glue it in and start filling in those gaps. Okay, guys, so this section of the dome is all done, and I'm actually really happy with this new dome technique. I will try to get better at it in the future. But right now, I'm super happy how it is. So right now, what I'm going to do is fill in this quadrant and then start getting on the back details. So let's go. Okay, guys, so what I'm doing, I'm just filling in all the other gaps. It takes a lot of time, but is very rewarding. The dome, I think, took me a total of 2 days to make, but overall, I'm very happy with it. So just take your time and it will come out very well. Okay, guys, so I finished the dome and I'm super happy with how it came out. So now what I'm going to do is off camera fill in all of these little gaps. So I'm going to do that and then cut right to a time lapse of start working on the fins. Let's go. Okay, guys, so there's a total of 3 fins on this build. So there is the main one and then the 2 fins on either side. So the main one, which is on every clone helmet, is just a flat piece of cardboard with 2 other pieces of cardboard running on each side, creating a trench in the middle. And then I am gluing that piece directly onto the helmet. And then for the other fins, I'm going to be calling them banana peels because that's what they look like. What they are two curved pieces of cardboard, and one of them has details cut into it. So what I did with that, I peeled off the cardboard on the one that has the detail cut into it so it's very thin. And then what I did with this, I glued one on top of the other, and that created the look that I wanted. Okay guys, so wasn't recording, I found out after, but we have this main fin done, and then we have two of these, which are the other fins that go right there. But I'm not gonna put them on, just it'll make sanding way easier. But now what I'm gonna work on is all the little details. Okay guys, so the mini rangefinder is just a bunch of pieces sandwiched together, and then a little popsicle stick as the little antenna on top, and then a little build on the top to give it that detail I wanted. And then the ears are just one piece of cardboard that has the cuts into them, and then I'm gluing all of that down and adding one piece of cardboard on top to give it a little raised effect. Okay guys, so that summarizes the build of the helmet. Now let's start on the finishing process. So the first step is resining everything. Okay guys, so this method is not required, but it does help with the overall build. So this is when I use this epoxy resin and brush it all over the helmet and all the details. What this does, it makes it hard and makes it more durable for sanding, spackling, and just in general, it can survive a little bit of a fall with taking a little bit of a beating, especially at a con. I use this stuff on my Mud Trooper costume as well. Okay guys, so everything has resin on it, and then I sanded it smooth. So it's still shiny in some areas and then dull in others. So here we have all of the details. Got a lot of them, but right now what we're going to do, we're going to spackle a few of them. So this gets spackled, that gets spackled, this piece gets a little bit of spackle. And I think that's it. So let's go. Okay guys, so spackling is what I've been doing in almost all of my videos or all my helmets. Just this paste that I use that is meant for drywall, and I just put it on and then I sand it off and I repeat it until it gets as smooth as I want it. So this is going to take a lot of trial and error. Definitely took me a lot of time. If you look at my first tech helmet and where this helmet is, very different in sanding. And sanding, you want to take your time. The longer you take, the better it will come out. And then I use this stuff called filler primer to fill in all the tiny cracks and show me where I need to put more spackle. I did around 3 to 4 coats of spackle and filler primer. And then these are all the details for it that don't have spackle. I'm just painting them straight up. Okay guys, so we have the first two colors of paint on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly mask them and then get the white on. Okay guys, so masking is pretty self-explanatory, but something I do want to tell you about is I got this new masking tape that is meant for costuming. It's called Tamiya masking tape, very good. Comes in different thicknesses, 6, 10, that's what I used here, and I'm getting a 20 millimeter on its way. So very good, meant for crafting, doesn't peel up the tape, doesn't peel up the paint, which I'm very happy about. Then here I'm painting the orange onto the visor after masking off the details, painting the helmet white, and then some details inside gray and white. In that box, I have some 2 little details I forgot to paint earlier. So all pieces are painted up. All we have to do is weather it. But now I'm just going to show you the very satisfying step of peeling off all the masking tape. This can make or break, so you really want to take your time. Okay guys, so I have everything here. I need to finish it off. I have all my paints. I have my black, gray, and white. So I'm going to use these two to make a lighter gray than this. But then with this black, I'm going to make a black wash for all the little details. And then this and this I'm going to do for a dark gray for the teeth. So I'm going to start. Let's go. So before I started weathering, I just took some black paint and wiped it into those little teeth marks you see on the helmet, or those little indents you see near the tubes. And then I made a black wash, which is black paint and water, mix it together and brush that on all the details. And then I made a very light gray with white and black. In my opinion, that gets the best light gray. And that's what I used to weather the main helmet. And the same thing with the visor. And on the visor as well, I add a little bit of black to it to make it look like more battle damage. And then here is when the helmet starts to come together. All the details are being glued onto the helmet. So there's are the banana peels I was talking about. Okay guys, so close to a month of work all comes down to putting the visor in. So I'm going to do that, and let's get right to the results. Hey guys, thank you for watching to the end of my video. If you enjoyed it, like it, and if you're not already, subscribe. Because my next few builds are going to be amazing. My next one from the Book of Boba Fett, which I'm very excited for. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure you subscribe.